Hey, Jonathan, my man, how is it going, man?
Good, man. Working
Good.
hard at it right here.
Bro, it feels like I need to I don't know, ask the president of the United States for some time to talk to you, man. You've been so busy.
Yeah, it's been, since I moved down here to Texas, man, he's been really busy. I haven't stopped for almost a month and a half, hit the ground
Mm,
running right from the beginning. Yeah.
okay, awesome. So basically your story with Hesel Media started a few months ago, but the real story began when you moved to Texas pretty recently. Do you mind to walk us through what's happening since you resumed everything when you came to Texas? Tell us a little bit of your experience. What were you doing? Basically a little bit of your experience in this whole world of wholesaling, and also like what has happening after you resumed when you came back to Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working in the DMV. I was doing wholesaling.
Mhm,
I had quite a bit of experience doing that up there.
mhm,
And I was running some ads there. And the DMV market in Washington, this is really competitive.
mhm,
So me and my wife, we decided to move down here to Austin, Texas. And I actually paused the campaigns for about a month until we did, the transition down here. And, once we turned on the campaigns, I actually turned them back on while I was still in Virginia. And I was starting getting some leads. And, once I came down here to establish myself down here, the lead quality, first of all, I got uh, the quantity increase also, but along with that, the quality of the leads also increased. So I was able to close deals up there in the DMV, and then now I'm, actively now closing deals here within a span of 45 to 60 days since I turned these campaigns here. Um, and I would say this down here has been a little bit of a quicker turnaround because when you pause campaigns, the algorithm have to like kind of reset, right? And that happened. But here, within a couple of weeks, I was already started getting, good lead quality and lead volume, which is what I'm in the middle of, working on those leads right now. Yeah. So actually, it's been pretty good, my transition from the DMV to Texas. Yeah.
amazing. And I want to ask you about your results there. But
Mhm.
before I do that, can you tell us a little bit about your experience overall in real estate? I think you've been in real estate for about what, 15 years, something?
Yeah, so I actually came to the States when I was 19 years old. Started working right in real estate that was back in 2005. So it's gonna
Mhm,
be next January. It's gonna be 20 years doing this.
mhm,
Uh, did fix and flips. Then the market got taken down back in 2008. So we started doing some other things. I started getting into wholesaling, pre-foreclosures, probates. We got in
mhm,
a lot of that, and then we were doing wholesaling um, at a big scale. So
mhm,
um, dealing with a lot of private investors, everything off market properties. We would even touch anything that was on the market.
mhm,
Um, and, a lot of leads that by being in the business for a while, people get to recognize you, like a lot of the stuff that we were getting lately,
mhm,
and I'm still getting, are referrals, right? Like people that, you deal a transaction years ago, word of
mhm.
mouth, they will go and say, okay, work with them because you have been in the business for a while. So that actually has been a good path for me, and I'm excited. Like this for me is a new chapter, it's a new market.
Mhm.
I need to learn it, but I think we'll be able to get the grasp pretty quickly
Mhm.
and just move everything that we were doing up there down here.
Mhm.
I don't think that will be
Do,
that difficult of a transition. Yep.
do you see any differences from where you were doing this 20, 15 years ago to now? I don't know. I'm fairly recent in this industry, maybe five
Yep.
years ago. And ever since I came here, I've seen technology and all like new stuff coming in, like people disrupting this entire industry. So I don't know. I feel like, I mean, you're starting a completely new market from scratch that people in the past, they would say like, no, I need to learn the market first. No, you just started and you had the marketing, you had the systems. So I don't know, it feels like to me, at least from this point of view, like it's faster to initiate this now.
Yes, and that's true. Like, I mean, if you go back to 2005, 2006, the market back then was still, it was a very good market. It was really hot. Okay. There was also, real estate investing has been around forever, but the real estate wholesale industry, the way that is now, it wasn't like that back then. Like back then, you would like go and pretty much see every property as you taking ownership of it, taking on the repairs. Um, Bottom line is wholesaling wasn't a big thing back then. You will still wholesale deal, but was more like, okay, if I have a deal, they don't want to, take on it, you would just sell it to one or two or three investors that you knew that, would do that kind of, they were competitors with you, but they will do the same thing and they will take the deal. Nothing like is now where people have just created wholesale operations all together, right? With big teams, and that's all they focus on, right? Me, I like to do a little bit still of both, all right? If a property presents itself and you can take on it, buy it, take title to it, and that's a good exit strategy for you, then you should do that, right? You want to hold it, then that's another strategy. And even like, creative financing, that's a new term, really, right? The seller financing, sub-twos, all this stuff is really new to the industry in a way that it's been presented and people advertise about it, right? I mean, there is people making money out of this, doing education and courses and all that stuff. There was nothing like that back then. So yeah, the industry has changed, markets have changed, I mean, you will go to certain neighborhoods back in the day, 2005, 6 in Washington, D.C., you will buy houses, properties for $50,000. Those same neighborhoods today, you would not be able to purchase a property for less than $500,000. Those same neighborhoods, same blocks, right? So that's how much has some of these things have changed. And you would never imagine, I mean, remember, so like signing contracts for $50,000 back in the day. This is 2007, 8, somewhere back there. Now, nothing like that. So things have changed, of course. And there are more people that have come into the industry also. So there's also more competition. But I think for me, seeing what it was 2 decades ago, of course, I was much younger. I didn't have a lot of experience, but I was working in that industry right from the beginning, right? I was able to learn a lot of stuff from then. And I can compare, to what is 20 years later. You just have to adapt, as to how the markets are different, with time.
That's I mean, adaptability is for the people that have been doing this for a long time. But somebody doing it from scratch, they just need to, I mean, would you say they just need to like listen to the people that are doing it and just do it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I say the quick way to get into this is just you just need to, because a lot of people are doing it. You need to either go and learn from somebody that have done it for a while. Okay, they'll be able to teach you. If you have the money, okay, if you have the money and you have the ability to actually pay somebody to teach you this, that's gonna shortcut a lot, right, for you to get where you wanna be. Now, if you don't have the funds or you don't have the money available to pay a mentor or a coach, then you're just gonna have to hustle hard, right? Because you're gonna come into the space, into the industry at a point where it's kind of like saturated already. There is a lot of people doing this. Then you just need to hustle your way in. Not other there, and there is no shortcut to that. It means you're gonna just to work hard at it. You're gonna have to do cold calling. You're gonna have to do SMS text blasting, just the stuff that doesn't cost a lot of money to do, that to get in the game, right? There are other ways that you can also get paid for leads, and hiring somebody like Hesel Media that will just provide you inbound leads, so you can actually just get in the game, right? Because this is a sports contact. You get people on the phone, you talk to them, and then a lot of people I get some people that wants to work in the industry and they want to new, and they call me and say, hey, Jonathan, I'm building my buyers list. I'm starting, I'm new. And the first thing I said, look, why are you building your buyers list, to wholesale properties? You're not even talking to sellers. You first need to get on the phone, see if you can, land a deal, get a contract signed with somebody, right? Then you worry about the dispo after, so people are trying to reverse things just to make it more complicated. But again, when they are starting, they are trying to figure it out. Okay, what do I do here? And that's why I think getting to with somebody that knows how to do it and that have been in the industry for a while is the best way to get in the game. It just is, why reinvent the wheel? Just try to copy it. That's all.
Awesome, bro. This is great stuff. Let's get into details on your results. Okay. You've been having a lot of activity. You've been keeping yourself busy. Even though you're super experienced, that doesn't change. You still need to hustle, right? You still need to make some
100%.
moves. You've been also building a great team of people that is in your network, that you're working together to get the most out of these leads and all kinds of stuff that you're doing there in Texas. Yep. So I guess tell me a little bit about the contracts that you've seen in the past 40 to 60 days, like you mentioned. If you already closed one of them, what is the other one looking like? And be just honest. Tell me exactly what I mean. Summarize it, but tell me what's going on with those contracts.
Yeah, so I've seen here a little bit with the leads. Like I said, I mentioned motivation. They have been better down here. I'm not going to say, because I've only been here for less than 2 months, I'm not going to say this is a less competitive market. But I think this market down here, you can probably leverage yourself a little bit more with sellers, okay? You see a little bit of areas where it's a lower price point. Okay, you can enter the sellers a little bit more aggressive with offers, at a point or at a price where you can actually land a deal. Okay, not a lot of back and forth. So you get properties on the lower price point also. Those tend to be a little bit easier on the acquisition also. But sometimes it's also a little bit easier in the disposition side because investors are willing to buy properties, be a little bit more, aggressive on prices when the risk is lower, meaning their purchase price is less. Just put it this way, a house that is $100,000, you put 50 into it, you are all in for 150, resale is 250. That's a lower risk deal, right? Versus what I was getting up at the DMV, totally different market. Everything is 300, 400, 500 and above, right? So it's a very competitive market. So what happens in those markets, you get people still on the seller side to ask for top dollar no matter what, right? So then you gotta really compete this deal with a lot of older people, and it makes it more difficult on the process of acquisition, right? So down here, I'm being able to leverage a little bit more. And, a lot of times takes, a lot of experience of talking to people on the phone, up there and down here. One thing that doesn't change is the follow-up. What I've seen on these leads here that I got in the first 30 days, they kind of went cold. So I just went into, what? I haven't done this because I just came, but I am going to start calling these people from 30 days ago. And I'm going to really push to get and see, look, did you sell the house? If you sold it, okay, that deal, nothing to do. But what I found out is a lot of those leads that initially they didn't have, or they didn't want to interact with me or try to get close to an agreement or a purchase, on the property, they're still alive. They have it there, okay? So, you need to talk to sellers in a different way, just like, I still make some of those calls. I have some people that make some calls for me also. But when it gets to a point to revive a deal or try to make it work to see if we can okay, let's see if this deal is still a viable option for us and for the team. I call these people and I can talk to them in a different way that my team could. I think one thing that is very important is setting up expectations right from the beginning. Talk numbers, explain, do negotiation. I think data is very important. This is what a lot of people doesn't do in the business, by the way. They just come and start talking to people, and they don't really have anything to provide of value to the homeowner, that they just sound like any other call they get, because these people are getting 10, 15, 20 calls per week about their house, right? You want to sound like the guy that knows what he's talking about, right? That guy that has the experience, guy that looks like, you know what? And I can tell the people, look, I'm going to be honest. I've been in the business for 20 years. Anybody that is trying to tell you this over the phone, they're probably lying to you, And then you present yourself, you open the door. Okay, can you open the door for me to see if I can just explain to you what is this about? Because this industry also has been, taken as like real estate investors are scammers, or like, and I think that happens because a lot of people have come in there that they don't know what they are doing, right? So setting expectations with the sellers is really important. So as far as the lead quality, Ben, I think it's been great down here. I have nothing but props for Hesel Media. The quality of the leads are there. The quantity is there. It gives me enough, for me to, to keep my business going and running here.
That's beautiful. What is the deal size so far, or revenue projected?
So basically, you're probably talking somewhere in the range of 50 to 70K, just for this first 2 months on assignment fees. Funny story, we got a contract signed with a person in San Antonio, and we got it for a good price. And then just to find out 2 days later that she wanted basically back out of the deal. And I said, well, no, we have a signed contract. I want to protect my interest in it. I still want to go and, perform on this deal, on this contract. He said, well, the family, wanted to take a different route with this, blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, this doesn't end right here. I want to proceed with the deal. You're telling me you're backing out. So I'm going to file a memorandum of sale, for purchase contract, right? Because I want to protect my interest. And of course, she wouldn't get on the phone with me to explain this. So I just have to text it. Don't really have to get mad about this, by the way. You want to make it sound like it's this is what you do. It's business. We are here to do business. I take this seriously, as you should, right before you sign the contract, right? So, of course, she never said anything to that. So I said, look, because a lot of times when you said, I'm going to file a memorandum in county, they don't think you're going to do it. They think you're just bluffing, kind of just to make them scared. So you wait a day or two, and then if you don't hear anything back, you say, okay, here's the memorandum. This is going to be filed tomorrow at the courts, right? Actually, and at the price point that was, I think it was a good deal for us. And I think she was also getting a fair price for this property. So what happens in the middle of all this, which is very, very common in this industry, right? Because you're not the only person they're talking to. If you think you're the only person they're talking to, you'll be fooling yourself, because it's never like that. They're always getting multiple offers from every single company out there, right? So, of course, she just wanted to say, look, the family wants to move in a different direction. I knew right away that they were just getting a better price from somebody else. So fast forward to today, this is exactly what happened. The guy that has the contract on their house, they of course sign a contract with somebody else for a higher price than I had, right? So the guy called me and left me a message. I haven't even called him back yet, because I'm going to play the game a little bit. This is where you play ball with these guys. The guy was leaving a message and saying, hey, look, Jonathan, I know that you spoke to the owner of the property in San Antonio. You're intending to file a memorandum of sale. We want to work out some kind of deal. They probably already have that deal under contract and sold to somebody else, right? So they won't be able to go to closing. Title company is going to come back and say, once they see a record, okay, she had a contract first with Jonathan. What's going on here? So they're going to have to come back with me. And actually, to be honest with you, Carlos, this is easier way, like in this case, we'll probably get paid, okay? And we don't have to dispute the deal. We don't have to go to the house, put a lockbox, do none of that. No taking pictures, none of that. We will just get paid at closing for us to release the, the lien on the property, right?
That's
The point
great.
is, you had to really bring the seller, and you always have to wondering if you're communicating with somebody, why all of a sudden they started ghosting you. 9 out of 10 times, it's because they probably got a better offer from somebody else, and they are engaging and just try to buy time. Because what they want to do is they want to go to closing quick with the other buyer, right? But your job is to look, I put my time, I ran my comms, we went over the offer, you signed the contract, we open escrow with the title company. Why all of a sudden you're going to tell me, oh yeah, my siblings wants to end the contract? What is the reason behind that? That what contracts are enforceable for, right? So then that lien stay there. I don't care. I would like, for me, it doesn't matter. She's going to probably deal with them. Two things can happen. The other guy can drop, okay, and she comes back to me, right? Or she tries to sell it to somebody else. And what they don't think is, they think that the title company is going to like, just bypass that. No, you won't be able to go to closing, right? They will have to get my lien release, right? So that's what contracts are for. So that's, little nugget story there that it just happened,
Bro, that
just
is
today. Yeah.
that is just amazing. Like, it is really about understanding the whole entire process and how to handle different situations in each stage, right? The acquisitions is a huge portion of it, but that's not where the game finishes, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's where the game starts.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you another question. You have, I think you have at least another contract.
Yeah. So this one was somebody that I reached out to me through Facebook, got the lead. It was a little, I had to do 3 visits to that family to get the contract signed. So the guy was living there, understand a little bit of the motivation, moving out of state, retiring, was going somewhere to, I think, Oklahoma, going north. And the first time, I walk out of the appointment, okay, it was on a Saturday night, and didn't have really a good feeling about it. I kept working with him. And then on the second visit, he said, look, why don't you just talk to my sister? She's the one that is helping me with this. And to find out that she was actually the decision maker on all of it, right? And I said, look, what's the pinpoint for you here to make this happen? And he said, look, it's not all about the price. I want somebody that is willing to, stand at closing to 30, 45 days out. I know most of you guys want to close quick, and that is, no, we can give you 30, 45 days for a closing, right? And he said, look, would you give me a few days? I didn't understand this because until I talked to him more and more. He was concerned, as he already has his play in Oklahoma. He was concerned that, okay, if I close here with you, I got to give you keys immediately. And then I don't know where to go. I got 2 dogs. And so I said, look, this is what we can do. We can go to closing and we give you a few days to move out, man. And he said, would you do a 45-day closing? I said, 45-day close is fine. So then once that was kind of like settled there, he talked to, the sister, and, we got together. I presented the contract. This was one of those that there was no need to push, right? To rush the people to sign. This was in person, by the way, belly to belly. There was no need to push the deal because that would have just scared them away. So sometimes, and you learn this with years, sometimes you have to retract a little bit with these sellers to make them warm and fuzzy. You still want to keep them engaged to a point, okay, I don't really want to lose the deal by a couple of grand. End up finding out after we signed the contract that they were only talking to me, okay, this whole time, the last 3 weeks. They have been wanting to sell the property for about a year, okay?
Wow.
And they have been interviewing people over and over. Some people, and came out after we signed the contract, and we kind of, walls were dropped down, and they start telling me a little bit about what they were going through. They said that some of the people that they saw in person, they didn't like. First of all, they didn't want to deal with a company that was not here locally. One, so that actually worked in my advantage. So he said, look, all of these calls and text messages that he was showing me, look, I get the calls and text messages from all the people all the time. None of these people are here in Austin area, right? So we want to deal with a local company, right? Somebody that is willing to come see face to face and do a deal with them, right? They wanted 310, I got it for 280. Okay. So, but I think it was because I was patient with them. I never pressured to get a contract signed. And then the sister kind of said, you know, Jonathan, I talked to, you know, both of my siblings. I think we're going to go with you. Everything that you have presented is kind of what we want. Okay. I know we wanted 310. You offered 280. We understand the condition of the property. And I explained numbers to them. Also, this one really worked like perfectly for that. Some people, you're going to present numbers and they don't care. They're going to want the best offer and that's it. Goodbye. If you don't give me this, goodbye. Some people, like cases like this, you can actually leverage yourself a little bit, showing them why your offer is what you're offering, right? Instead of, I'm just throwing a number at you, right? Market conditions and this kind of stuff. And, you know, I brought 2 of my contractors that day, you know, to get bids, and they saw we were doing work, right? In the first 2 times that we went there, and actually we landed the deal.
You never pressure, but you do, but you have the end really clear in your mind.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
you're gonna seize the opportunity whenever you see it.
Yeah, and that gets to a point like, you know, you put your offer, you know, and I knew they were going to need a couple of days to think about it. I knew that. So I sent the offer. I let them alone for a couple of days. I never even called them, right? At that point, and again, you never know this. This is kind of where you have to, you know, get your gut feeling on some of the things, and are doing it for a while. You kind of have, okay, this one you don't need to push. There are some others that you actually need to push, because if you think you're being left out because they're going to company number 2, then you push a little and press more. But this one, I just had a feeling that they were, because they were not in a real hurry. They told me already the 45 days that they want, right? So in that way, so I said, you know what, there's no need. And I don't think anybody's going to really tell them and explaining things to them in a way that I'm doing it. And they were listening to me all the time, right?
That makes a lot of sense, bro. A lot of sense. You were leveraging that the fact that they were not in a hurry. That's amazing.
Yeah, 40. They wanted to do 45 days. So we just did finish our inspection period today. You know, we were able to. This one, to be honest, this one was one because the numbers were like right there. I thought about taking this house myself and fix it. We look at the numbers, me and my partners look at the numbers, and they were kind of about the same thing that we would do if we were to assign it, that if we were to fix and flip it, you know, do the renovations on our own. But it was good. I think they had interviewed people for a year. That's what they told me. And they didn't like the people that they saw. They interviewed agents, they interviewed other people. And they just said, look, you know, you explain things to us in a different way, Jonathan. And I said, look, you know, just like I wanted to give information. A lot of times people don't understand. A lot of times you just have to provide value. You got to tell the people and explain to them things in a way that you know what the heck you're talking about. Okay. You know, that gives you a lot of advantage over anybody else that has been doing this for only a year. Right? It will give you tremendous amounts of difference, like at the time where you need to land the deal. Sometimes you push and sometimes you have to like retract.
Quick question. Both of them are cash deals, right?
Yes.
Love it. And you also have a bunch of like tools in case you need them, novations, credit financing. So that's good for you too, right?
Yep.
Awesome, bro. One last question, man. This has been very, very good stuff. I'm excited. Congratulations on your potential 60 to 70. You mentioned that you were closing one of those. Is this the one that is closing?
This is actually, yeah, it's closing on escrow in 30 days. Yep.
Wow, nice, congratulations, man.
Yep.
All right, so really congratulate you for that. Also, thank you so much for taking the time to explain your process, to explain how things, how you're working things out, and also your excitement about the lead quality and your future, your expectations for the near future. So that's amazing, bro. The one last question I want to ask you is, what would you tell to somebody that potentially right now is on the fence of going all in with Hesel Media? Like, what would you tell that person?
Yeah, I would say, you know, you're on this to stay for the long run. You know, even for me, before I signed up with you guys last year, you know, you're doing something new, because this is the first time I'm doing this type of inbound marketing, right? So, and I'm gonna be honest, I interview other companies. Okay, I interview other companies before I decided to hire you guys. But you still, even in the process of doing that, you don't know, right? And that's normal for any new client that you're gonna get, right? Whether it's somebody that has done Facebook ads in the past, or somebody that is new to the industry, right? But that has the money to actually put into inbound marketing. I think you just have to let it run for a little bit. Okay, if you have, the time, and that you're gonna really do this and make a business out of it long term and run it like a business, just give us some time, because it happened to me. The first 30 or 60 days, I got a little bit concerned with lead quality, right? But then I understood, like, okay, the campaigns have to work. There is an algorithm that has to learn the market and all of this other stuff. And then you start seeing the leads, right? When you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 leads, is one thing. You're only thinking about, okay, I only have 3 or 6 or 7 to work. But wait until you let it run for a while, okay? And then you get 10 to 15 a month, right? Then on your spreadsheet, you're going to have 40, 50 people to talk to, right? And what you're going to find out a lot of times, when you do the first point of touch with these people, that property is there was a motivation to it, and if they haven't sold it, well, you're going to have a chance to go back to these people in 3, 4, 5, or 6 weeks, which is exactly what I've seen here. The leads that I got here the first 30 days down here in Texas, they kind of went cold for a little bit. And actually, I just revived 2 or 3 of them, and some of those are prospective, hopefully, deals that will become alive, but that they were not at the beginning. So you got to stick to it, follow the process, and then you are going to have enough people to talk to, because again, it's a contact game. It's you gotta hit contacts, you gotta make offers to land contracts. That's just how it is.
Grant Cardone says contacts produce contracts.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you're going to be able to work with people. Yeah. So just stick to it. Be patient.
Bro, this is amazing. Thank you very much for today. Looking forward to meeting with you very soon. We to keep staying in contact. We stay in contact typically once a week, sometimes once every two weeks, but let's keep in contact. Let's keep finding ways to make you even more successful. And congratulations for what you've accomplished so far.
Thank you so much, Carl. Yeah.
Awesome, bro.